Yahweh, God of Israel, claims to have made us as natural beings, and He put us in a natural world. And that's all we know and understand. We never see anything supernatural because He won't allow that. Still and yet, He expects us to believe without any proof at all that a supernatural world exists. That's His big thing. If we believe, He'll let us live with Him in His supernatural kingdom, where we will always be happy falling down on our knees worshiping Him. Kind of Him, huh? Yahweh can't allow natural people not to believe in the supernatural. It angers Him worse than getting poop between His toes or seeing us walking around in a wool and linen dress. And He doesn't care how good we are either. We can give our last penny to the poor and sleep on the streets in a cardboard box for all He cares. If we don't believe supernatural things happen and supernatural beings exist without any proof whatsoever, He's got no use for us. And He will squash us like a bug under His feet. In fact, speaking about how He doesn't care how good we are, we can be serial killers or child rapists. It's all good. We can murder and rape thousands. And all we have to do is say, we believe in the supernatural, and voila, Yahweh loves us. So tell me, in the name of all that is good and decent, why do you endorse this disgusting, evil, and or demented being? Further, why do you think it's appropriate for this God to punish people who live in a natural world simply because they can't believe without evidence in a supernatural ghost who lives in a supernatural castle on a supernatural planet in some supernatural universe? What about not being able to believe in all that without proof makes a person worthy of eternal punishment or eternal banishment? Do you have a good answer for that? We're not talking about bad people here. Those of us who don't believe in Yahweh and His book aren't wicked. We simply cannot accept what some ancient people wrote, especially when it makes no sense. It sometimes goes against the laws of nature and is often malevolent and even contradictory. Not to mention that it sounds like the other documents we have that talk about other ancient gods and goddesses in the same way. What is particularly interesting, though, about this whole thing is that Yahweh condemns anything that is unnatural, or I could say supernatural. He condemns witchcraft, which is basically the sorcery that His prophets used. He condemns witches and seers and wizards, which are what His own prophets are. He condemns magic, which is, again, what His prophets performed. A miracle is the suspension of natural laws, and that's what real magic is. And we aren't to believe in magic, according to Yahweh's own words. The truth is, we're condemned for believing in the supernatural and condemned for not believing in it. You can't win with Yahweh. So again, why do you worship this creep? What is it about him that turns you on? You don't like to step in poop either? You hate linen and wool together? Wool is kind of scratchy, and I don't want to walk in poop either. So maybe that's it. I'm just wondering why such a character appeals to you. And please don't say you love Yahweh because He sent His Son to die for you. He did that because He's not decent enough to simply forgive you when you're truly sorry and try to do better. What kind of being would say that's not good enough? I mean, sure, we humans might still be wary of a person who has harmed us, because we can't read minds. But a God can and knows if we're contrite and trying to be better people. What kind of scum says, nah, that ain't good enough. I need a pound of flesh. Not to mention the fact that you've done nothing that comes anywhere near to the evil He has practiced. No person who ever lived on this planet is as wicked as the God of Israel. Have you murdered anybody? He has. No need to give you references. You all know it. Have you stolen land from anybody? Yahweh had His people wander 40 years in the desert. In that time, He could have taken them far away where nobody lived and probably given them much better land than hilly Jerusalem. But no, he wanted them to first covet what their neighbor had, which is supposedly not his will in the first place, and then murder and rape and pillage and rob other people of their land. We all know that's how they got the Temple Mount that you think they ought to be given back. Have you raped anybody? He has. They say Mary was 12 or 13. That's statutory rape. Besides, it was an abuse of power. If a male boss told a preteen worker that he was blessing her with his child and she would be famous and everybody would love her, how could she resist? So that whole thing is just a farce. Yahweh's problem with humans is mainly that boo-hoo. We don't believe in him and we don't love him. But you know what? He doesn't love us or believe in us either. If he did, he'd simply forgive us or overlook us. After all, we're only human. You know the worst thing I ever did? The very worst? And I've done some bad things in my time, but the worst thing I ever did, I did in the name of the Lord. You want to know what it was? I approved of burning human beings. And I was, in some ways, gleeful about it. Not outright, but there was a song whose chorus says, or this is my memory of it, or the version that I heard. It says, everybody's worried about that atom bomb, oh, but no one seems to worry about the day my Lord shall come. You better get your house in order. He may be coming soon, and he'll hit like an atom bomb when he comes, when he comes. I loved that. I loved singing it. I thought it was a totally cool song. I didn't think a thing about the fact that it was a glorification of the destruction of human beings. Oh, and I once laughingly told a young atheist, you're going to hell in a handbasket. And then I went on my merry way. And the truth is, he was probably a better person than I was. We were friends, and he didn't get upset with me. He knew what I believed. But that's not the point. Now, there's nothing wrong with burning dead people. In fact, I personally think it's more respectful than draining them of their blood, filling them with chemicals, sewing up their eyes and mouth, painting up their faces, and sprawling them out for people to gawk at for 3 days. But I'm talking about burning conscious beings and burning them forever. I actually endorse that. And it would be heinous even if it wasn't humans being burned. If chickens were being tortured forever and ever, we would, and we should anyway, all condemn it. It doesn't matter whether the Bible teaches this unending pain either. I don't believe it does. But many Christians, and I was once one of them, do think it and consider it to be a loving act for Yahweh to accomplish. They approve of it. And if the Bible doesn't teach it, then it's just the Christian's own idea of what is good and holy. They think torturing people for not believing in supernatural beings and burning people for all eternity is lovely and just and worthy of praise. I'm so ashamed that I ever supported that. I mean, sometimes it makes me want to hide my face from people. It's the most heinous concept ever imagined in the minds of men. You want to talk about abortion? You think that's awful? If we aborted every pregnancy that ever occurred, it wouldn't be as bad as burning one person for all eternity. You know it's true. So again, what appeals to you about Yahweh? Is it only that you want the mansion you think he offers and you're willing to worship him despite his immorality and insane ways just to save your own skin? And you're ready to throw your family and friends under the bus in a total act of self-centeredness? I hope that's not it. But if you have a better answer, one that actually makes sense and doesn't make you look like a narcissist, I'd love to hear it. Listen, if you endorse and defend a book that espouses murder, theft, misogyny, rape, incest, and unending torture, then you support all of those behaviors. It's the same as if you practice the evil yourself. If you approve of this book, then you are a murderer, you are a thief, you are a misogynist, you are a rapist, you commit incest, and if the book actually says this, because I can be wrong, you are fine with being the one to light the match to torture your fellow man. Have you ever thought about capital punishment and how somebody has to flip that switch on the electric chair? Would you want to be that person? Probably not, but you, by supporting hellfire and brimstone, are refusing to put that same person out of his misery. You're happily prolonging his unfathomable suffering forever and ever, and praising the monster who told you to do it. So please, do not mention abortion or homosexuality or premarital sex or drinking alcohol or smoking pot or dancing or running around in a bikini to me. You, of all people, do not have the right to condemn stuff like that, or anything for that matter. You cannot pretend to be good people and then sanction the never-ending torture of other human beings. You just can't. And if, after considering all that I've said, you still think Yahweh is good and holy and worthy to be worshipped, then all I can think is that you are just like the God you worship. Yeah, that's right, I called you godly. But it's not a compliment. Have a nice day. Thanks for watching. Bye.